Li Hua lives in a society where his every move is tracked and rated. Jaywalking? Not good. Littering? Lose 5 points. Playing your music too loud? Lose more points. Not taking care of your aging parents? You're in trouble, Li Hua. Your score is getting dangerously low, so you might not be able to buy a plane ticket or become a public servant. Our fictional character, Li Hua, lives in China, where an omnipresent social credit system has been introduced. According to numerous media reports outside China, starting this year, all of the country's 1.4 billion people are given a numerical ranking. From now on, they'll either gain or lose points according to their behavior, just like that episode in Black Mirror.
Sounds awesome.
That's the media hype. But does China really have a social credit system? If so, how accurate are all the media reports? And why aren't Chinese people protesting? The social credit system is not fictitious. China has been developing a nationwide social rating system since 2014. The main principles are set out in a government document called Planning Outline for the Construction of a Social Credit System 2014 to 2020. The core idea is relatively simple. Everyone gets an initial score and then earns or loses points depending on good or bad behavior. It's a bit like a financial credit score that rates your trustworthiness with money. Many countries have one, including the USA and Russia. Except China's social credit score expands the concept into almost every sphere of life. What that means is that everything our friend Li Hua does, from what he buys in an online supermarket to the people he interacts with and how he does it, it all counts.
信用记录把它变成了一种资产，这种资产对于具有良好信用记录的人来讲，那这个资产让我们在很多方面可以得到便利，特别是在涉及到和金融相关的一些，比如说贷款等等的方面。
Mr. Zheng Gang is a deputy director of China's first think tank, the National Laboratory for Finance and Development. He says a bad rating could make your life difficult. If Li Hua's score drops, he may not be able to book a business class seat on a plane, or get a loan, or send his kid to a private school.
良好的信用记录是吧？那大家都去珍惜这种良好的信用记录的这样一个结果，它就能产生整个社会整体那么这个诚信水平提升的这样一个结果。
China has actually started to test its social credit system, but not nationally. Some cities have introduced their own pilot versions of social scoring. Rongchen City in Shandong Province is one of them. Every resident was given an initial 1,000 points. This document from city authorities sets out a scale of scores and how to earn or lose them. Earn more than 1,050 points and you're considered a model citizen with a AAA score. 1,000 makes you a AA. If your score falls to 900, you get a B. Then it's C for under 850 or D for falling under 600. City authorities collect data from government agencies, courts, and police. If Li Hua lived in Rongcheng, he could contribute to the scheme and report someone else for bad behavior. He'd get 5 points for that. Or he might earn points for athletic achievement. For example, winning a prize in a city's sporting event can bring in anything from 2 to 5 points. If Li Hua donated bone marrow, he'd be awarded a whopping 50 points. In Rongcheng, people lose points for traffic violations, littering, ignoring financial obligations, or cheating in exams. In China, some private companies already run credit score systems. Alibaba's is called Sesame, or Jima Credit. It's one of the first and most popular examples of what China's social score system could look like once it's in place on a national scale. Like many Chinese people, Li Hua uses Alibaba's services, and his current score is 610. Not too bad. The Sesame score ranges from 350 to 950 points and mostly relies on a consumer's buying habits and how active they are. The higher your score, the more privileges you can enjoy. With his score, Li Hua can rent a power bank without a deposit. Sesame Credit uses data from Alibaba, like its Taobao marketplace Tmall, or online Alipay provider to rate individual people. It operates shopping behavior that suggests responsibility, and vice versa. If a person plays a game for 10 hours a day, then he is considered to be untrustworthy. If a person buys diapers, then they are likely to be responsible parents. Some schools and kindergartens even look up parents' scores before admitting a new student. China's dating service, Baihe, has teamed up with Sesame Credit. When making romantic decisions, Li Hua shouldn't just look at pretty pictures in his hunt for potential partners. He has to check their social score too. The Sesame Credit score is voluntary. Users have to give consent to being checked, but the company promises that protecting user privacy and personal data is of utmost concern. In 2015, Sesame Credit was able to collect data from more than 300 million registered users and 37 million small businesses.
Весь ажиотаж вокруг этого социального рейтинга связан с тем, что те, соответственно, меры, которые принимаются в отношении должников или недобросовестных, соответственно, кредиторов, они могут выйти сильно за финансовые меры воздействия.
In China, there are citizens and businesses that thought untrustworthy people should face certain restrictions. People who don't pay on time, for example. If Li Hua didn't pay his taxes in 2018, he could have been among the nearly 18 million Chinese debtors who couldn't buy a plane ticket. Another 5.5 million couldn't buy train tickets. According to a report by the Supreme People's Court of China, it made 3.5 million people voluntarily fulfill their legal obligations or pay their debts and taxes. Well, if a travel ban doesn't work, in some cases debtors are publicly named and shamed. Local governments, like in Shanghai or Shenzhen, sometimes resort to putting up photos of miscreants with their names, ID numbers, and how much they owe on giant billboards in public places. Desperate times call for desperate measures. China loses more than 600 billion won, that's about $88 billion, every year in bad debts. Blacklists. Sesame Credit and Rongchan's pilot scoring system do have details in common. But it's still a far cry from what the media presents as a dystopian Big Brother system of intrusive surveillance that infringes citizens' freedoms. A digital dictatorship that punishes indiscriminately.
China has been beta testing a new social credit system,
which just unveiled a system of monitoring and grading every citizen's behavior.
For 1.4 billion citizens.
According to the experts we spoke to, these are exaggerations. A politics professor from the East China Normal University in Shanghai says many people in China would welcome a system that would help build trust in society.
Given population density, given how the negative actions of a few can upset many, one can find that many Chinese are happy to see this kind of system in place.
Вот в это очень легко верят, что китайцы же они такие, скажем, послушные, да, у нас есть такой миф, что послушности китайцев, их там какой-то вот дисциплинированности, хотя это абсолютно не так. Китайское общество, оно тоже не готово к этим цифровой диктатуре.
When the city authorities in Hangzhou proposed tracking people's health habits, the locals spoke out against it. In the height of the pandemic, citizens used a tracking app to help stop the spread of COVID, but the government wanted to extend the app and introduce a health score based on how much citizens walk or how many cigarettes they smoke a day. That proposal failed. If a social credit system hasn't been rolled out across all of China, where did that rumor about everyone having a personal social score in 2021 come from? Experts on China believe it's that document which suggests a 2020 deadline that might have confused many observers. For now, though, Li Hua doesn't have to worry about losing points. Hopefully he's a good person, but don't forget to separate your waste and help your elderly relatives. Not for the score, but because it's the right thing to do.